Hey everybody, how's it going? This week's blog post was accompanied with some patch notes as well. Patch notes were delivered on Wednesday, then we got the blog post on Thursday. Thursday did mark the end of the testing grounds phase 1. Phase 2, they go and let us give all of our feedback, they sent out the survey, all of that jazz, so they can collect it, and then phase 3 will start. That'll be them taking that feedback, refining the current implementations. So for that, we should be seeing results on the 19th. So actually just a couple of days away here. That'll be this week Thursday. We'll have a Warriors Den show with the details that they've collected for testing grounds. Also in this week's news, for the content of the week, or the content of the fortnight, as I've dubbed to calling it now, we have new signatures. Some of these are pretty fantastic, others are extremely lackluster. There doesn't seem to be a lot of in between here, but here we are. If you like the end of match showcases, these are a great pickup. Go ahead and pick them up and enjoy them. Then, as I said, we did get some huge patch notes on Wednesday. We saw a couple small changes to all heroes, or most of them. We also saw Peacekeeper balance tweaks, Valkyrie balance tweaks, and some minor changes to a couple of other heroes. I really wasn't expecting balance changes like this, so it was a very nice surprise getting up Wednesday, seeing these. So to kick it off, let's start with all of the heroes. They've adjusted Revenge so that active feats and debuffs are working properly while in Revenge. Receiving multiple attacks in the same frame will grant the correct amount of Revenge rather than only the first attack to hit you, even though they were all happening at the same time. Countering a guard break no longer grants Revenge. And Captains and Guardians no longer count as an opponent target, meaning if it's a 1v1 against a Guardian, meaning you, an enemy, and the Guardian, you will no longer gain Revenge for being in that fight. They have tweaked the zone attack for the Warden, Peacekeeper, Conqueror, Lawbringer, Kensei, Orochi, Nobushi, Raider, Berserker, Valkyrie, Shinobi, Aramusha, Shaman, Highlander, Gladiator, Shaolin, Tiandi, Zhengjun, and Hitokiri. You'll note that's basically 18 of the 22 characters. They removed a brief 1-second stamina regeneration pause if you used your zone attack. They have then tweaked fire attacks. The time between each damage tick and the duration of the fire has been doubled. The damage will stay the same, but it will damage for you a much longer time. So for Peacekeeper, she now gets enhanced lights against bleeding targets, meaning if the target is bleeding and they block you, your chain doesn't end. They've reduced both her heavy starter and heavy finisher recoveries so that she recovers from them a little bit faster. They then tweaked Valkyrie so that her light finishers are faster, or rather the recoveries are faster. For the same reason, she now gets out of them sooner and allows her to block or perform another move. Her top heavy finishers and her side heavy finishers were reduced as well. The top heavy saw a larger reduction from 1,000 to 800, and the side heavy from 900 to 800 for the hit recovery, that is. This did also bring her top heavy and her side heavy finishers to be equal. They're no longer separate from each other. This shouldn't be too much of a game changer. It is just minor recovery tweaks, but it'll mean that in your outnumbered fights, you will get hit by vulnerability things a little less. Then we have tweaks on Warlord. It's a little weird seeing a Warlord change given that he's in the testing grounds, but here we are. We saw the tightening of the dodge timing for Headbutt reduced by 300 milliseconds. This should mean that headbutts are much harder to dodge. They're no longer a massive window to dodge during. They've also buffed the recovery on his zone attack from 1 second down to 600 milliseconds. For Conqueror, they have buffed his side lights from 600 milliseconds down to 500 milliseconds. They've also adjusted the light damage on the infinite chain from 13 to 18. The light damage there doesn't seem to do too much because his infinite chain doesn't have the best of tracking. It seems to miss pretty much anything you swing it at. They've adjusted Shinobi so that having a charge heavy blocked from point blank range no longer gives the opponent a guaranteed guard break. This is a relatively minor tweak, but should do a lot for how Shinobi can throw out offense. Highlander saw some changes to his defensive form heavy finishers. These now recover much quicker, seeing pretty much 400 millisecond reduction on all of the recoveries, and then with his miss recovery gaining an entire 600 milliseconds quicker recovery. They reduced the stamina cost for his offensive form enhanced lights to 16 from 27, so you can throw out a lot more lights. And they have changed the stamina cost on his zone attack quite significantly. It is now 40, 10-10 for the continual hits. Shaman Zone has seen similar treatment, where the zone attack now costs a total of 60. It is costing 40, 10, 5, 5, and it no longer costs stamina to feint it. Tiandi has had his side dragon dodge buffed so that if you cancel it with a feint or a follow-up move, it no longer consumes the additional 20 stamina. The next up hero would be Shaolin. All of his chain heavy finishers have been reduced significantly in their recoveries for the same reason as above. His Death Point Strike and Death Point Strike alternative both have been tweaked so that they have an even distribution of 7-7-7, this changing from 12-6-6, so that they have a more consistent bash for the strikes. This also does reduce his 500 millisecond light from neutral from 24 damage to 21. Black Prior has seen the Tenebrous Rising dodge timing reduced by 200 milliseconds. Again, same as Warlord, this just gives a tighter window for when you can dodge it. And then we have a whole bunch of undocumented Jormungand changes. I don't have all of them, but basically they've reverted all of the launch tweaks that they did for Jormungand and have made them the early access version. So Jorm now deals more stamina damage than they used to. They have guard break vulnerability on most of the zone attack, which means if they do a zone attack, just throw out a guard break. Other than the stamina changes, I'm not sure what all Jorm got because they're not documented. And it's been a little while since early access. If you go check out Freeze's video on the early access of Jormungand, there should be all of the changes in that video, as that's now a better representation than what we've been playing with for the last month and a half. Good job, Ubisoft. And with Jormungand, that does end the balance changes. And from there we move on to map changes. On High Fort, they tweaked both capture points, so there's less environmental effects. On Capture Point A, there's an additional wall. And on Capture Point C, there are now railings on the 2 side bridges, and they removed the spikes from the statue. And then in this week's Outrage, Ubisoft has had the audacity to change some team colors. For the most part, they've pulled like 26, I think it is, previously neutral only colors into the team colors. I'll go ahead and throw a screenshot of those up on screen. Hopefully you can read them on mobile. I'm not going to go through and read them all. And then there are 5 colors that they have changed to be neutral only that previously were multi-team colors. Overall, some decent changes. They've also changed some cosmetics relating to colors. Things like Raider. Raider has significantly nicer color pop on the character. They've fixed the little piece of cloth on the left hip so that it has more to display on the colors. It's also more complete without like weird missing bits, so it's more clear if you put an emblem on there, for example. They've also done things like readjusting how colors apply to certain parts of Raider, such as the ropes on the chest are now colored, and the wrist wrap on the left hand are also colored. There's also various parts of the different armor sets that are receiving team color. I'm not exactly sure why this is under bug fixes or what, but apparently it was a bug that Raider's player expression wasn't putting vibrant colors on literally everything. I'm not a huge fan of this, but it is what it is. I don't think Ubisoft are going to be reverting it. I guess I just got to get used to it. It looks very out of place, and the leather hand wrap looks like it's made out of vinyl now. Maybe that's just the colors I pick. I do pick pink, so who knows. Maybe if I picked something darker, it would look better. And then we have a whole bunch of bug fixes that basically breaks down to things should work better. We have a whole bunch of things like sound bugs, where sounds weren't activating properly or at a delayed rate. Those should all be fixed. They've also fixed being able to throw yourself off a zipline by activating Revenge. There's a couple small tweaks like that. I do believe that is the end of this week's For Honor news, both the Wednesday patch notes and the Thursday Warriors Den blog post. So with that, I bid you farewell. I hope you have a great day. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the battlefield.